sino que todos vayamos al cielo con él un día.
Welcome to Guatemala City, the heart of the Mayan civilization. This is where our journey begins as we follow immigrants, tens of thousands of them arriving in the United States, desperate for a new life.
Immigrants everywhere, always on the move, like Maria and her 2 children from the Honduras-Guatemalan border.
¿Y sus niños cuántos años tienen? How old are they? Él tiene 4 años? Sí, 4 years old. ¿Y el otro cuántos años tiene? He's 5 años, 4 and 5 years old.
Maria's story is like so many here, desperate for a new life, a future for her 5 and 4-year-old, barely surviving the rampant poverty and violence of this land.
1 year, 2 years, 3 years, because they are crossing.
Arimar Barili runs the immigrant house in Guatemala, overwhelmed with child immigrants running from gang warfare. Even during our short time in Guatemala, 3 funeral processions marched by. The caskets carrying the bodies of those killed by gang violence. From Guatemala City, we head to the central bus station. At the bus station, more immigrants, all headed one direction.
Where is this bus going? Tecumuman, La Frontera, the border.
Then a 7-hour ride through long, winding, mountainous roads. Until finally, the Guatemalan-Mexican border. It's here that we find Manuel and Julia, 16 and 15 years old, from Honduras, already 2 weeks into their journey.
¿Dónde quiere trabajar? Where do you want to work?
No, Tapachula voy a trabajar.
Tapachula ahora. You're going to go work in Tapachula, and after that, eventually get to America.
With each step, they are closer to their dream. Now at the Guatemalan-Mexican border, and another dangerous crossing.
13 years old, 15 years old, 16 years old. ¿Y usted cuántos años tiene? 18, 18 years old. So they range in age here. Many of them older, most of them younger. On this boat right here, at least 5 of them are minors.
Then finally, Mexico, with the longest, deadliest journey still ahead. Along the Guatemalan-Mexican border, Art Rascon, 13 Eyewitness News. We pick up the story on the Guatemalan side of the border with a fast-moving group of immigrants.
Salvadoreños, hondureños.
Several children in tow.
On the move once again. Here a couple of dozen immigrants. This group specifically being led by coyotes, smugglers.
And among the group, 16-year-old Antonio, traveling alone.
Y no hay trabajo aquí? No work here? Nothing, no work here.
He has left home and family in Honduras. 3 weeks into his journey, he is picked up by a smuggler with promises of making it to the United States, where he is told jobs are easy to find.
¿Cuánto gana cada día aquí en Guatemala? How much do you make a day? 30 quetzales cada día. 30 quetzales every day for work here, which is about $5. That's it.
Antonio is like thousands on the immigrant trail, desperate for work.
¿Cómo te llamas?
José Manuel.
Jose Manuel.
Not far away, we find 15-year-old Jose. He is not leaving to find work. No, he just wants to survive, fleeing the increasing violence of Guatemala.
The people, they need security of life in Central America.
And they
need a job.
Yeah.
They need a job. They need some to live.
So Jose presses forward, finally reaching the Guatemalan-Mexican border and a secret crossing. Clearly evident in his eyes, fear.
¿Tiene miedo? Are you afraid? Yes, he says, I'm afraid. ¿Y por qué tiene miedo? Why are you afraid? There's a lot to be afraid of, he says, a lot to be afraid of.
On the other side, we wish him well
Buena suerte, okay? Good luck.
and rejoin two other children, siblings, 15 and 16 years old, who we have been following. After more walking, it's on to a van, just waiting for the smuggled immigrants. And then another long, crowded ride, but this one with a twist. An hour into our journey, we are stopped by Mexican federales at a surprise checkpoint. Even my backpack is checked, along with all the illegal immigrants. But I visibly see immigrants hand money to the federales, and we are let go. The journey now taking us through deep southern Mexico, with occasional stops to pick up even more immigrants. In Mexico, Art Rascon, 13 Eyewitness News.
People have more access to it because more is flowing in.
It seems like whenever I used it, I knew it was going to be a problem for me.
And it becomes a hellish cycle that you just get caught up into. They become monsters on meth.
That's when it got scary.
In the sleazy underworld that is the methamphetamine trade, traffickers are getting more creative.
It can be put in different types of containers, such as drinking bottles or water bottles.
No longer is meth being moved only in crystal or powder form. Liquid meth is on the rise.
It's very concealable, it's easy to get across that way, and we're seeing a dramatic increase in the liquid methamphetamine coming into Texas, and specifically the Houston area.
Dissolved in the solution to be later converted for sale and use, it's sealed in bottles. And in this bust, just over the Texas-Louisiana border, October 16th, candles. This 19-year-old from Houston was arrested. 2 weeks earlier, 34-year-old Vanessa Hernandez, also from Houston, was accused of trying to smuggle $700,000 worth of the liquid in soda bottles in her suitcase. It is flooding the market.
Methamphetamine is now in the Houston region considered the #1 drug threat.
Grabbing hold of people.
I couldn't tell you how it went wrong.
Like Shannon Manus.
If you'd have told me 20 years ago that I would be sitting in a 2-year rehab and been in and out of jails for the last 15 years, I would have said you were crazy.
Shannon has collected mugshots over the years while losing everything else. Her kids, her home, herself.
The last 15 years has been a fog.
At 43, she's doing her second stint in rehab and avoiding prison.
I would say it's the most popular at this time.
Steve Reeves is a reentry counselor for Senecor, a substance abuse treatment center in Deer Park. He knows the appeal of meth.
You become obsessed with it.
Because he has been in recovery for 20 years.
It keeps you high longer, and it's cheaper.
In fact, with the proliferation of the liquid, the supply is higher, which makes the prices even lower. And if you don't think it affects you, the Bureau of Justice says 20% of crime, like burglaries, robberies, and theft, is drug-related.
It does affect average citizens.
The DEA has put a priority on intercepting the liquid well before traffickers can convert it to crystal or powder in dangerous cookhouses. Authorities say it's impossible to know how much has slipped through, but Shannon Manus,
It's been a while since I've seen it.
hopes to never see it or her old self again.
I'm very excited about my future.
Jessica Willey, 13, Eyewitness News.
Riding in the back of this loud diesel work truck, it's far from the air-conditioned, seat-belted vehicles they're used to. Sweating and sitting on wobbling chairs, volunteers from Houston nonprofit Help for Haiti, Inc. are now in the poorest country in the Western Hemisphere, ready for their mission.
Welcome to Canaan.
Good to see you again.
Setting up a summer camp for about 70 kids who call Haiti's Canaan orphanage home.
All the kids been rejected. Some of them since birth, so they don't know the meaning of love. You understand? They don't know what true love is.
Volunteers wasted no time bonding with children on the playground and in the classroom.
You know, we had an orphanage, and the kids just want to be hugged, they want to be touched, they want to smile, they want to touch you. And how can you not react to that?
Among the group,
my dad sent me. He sent me because he says I'm like ungrateful.
A handful of teenagers.
It smells like the outdoors. I mean, I kind of smell a lot of dog poop and stuff. It feels muggy.
Some unprepared for what they'd face.
I didn't think it would be this bad. Like, I didn't think really it would be this hot.
No electricity, no technology.
I mean, this is the first time I've been away from my phone.
But perhaps the most difficult.
So this is how I was sleeping.
Living without central AC.
My night was horrible because I didn't bring a fan. So I was in this thing. I couldn't feel no air. I thought I was dying.
18-year-old Bria Adams finds it hard to adjust.
Like I could see the bugs trying to get on me through the net.
It's been a tough trip for these Help for Haiti Inc. teens. But when they look around
and see the young faces and often sad stories behind them,
it makes you realize more how much you should appreciate, you know, your parent.
Just like the thought of not having your parent, you know, and then like they can still smile and live another day. Like, I don't know how I would get through it if I didn't have my parents.
Just seeing what they go through and how they're still happy. Like you wouldn't think, you know. Their happiness makes me happy.
In this evening's ceremonies,
764 freshmen.
They're like the cowbell.
He was the nominee. This is great for the entire class. So that's just huge.
Flanked by two young ladies,
Abby and Ashley.
freshman Kenneth Dial gets an entrance fit for King.
The kids love Kenneth.
It is practice for Pasadena Memorial's homecoming court presentation.
I don't know what to say. Awesome.
The real thing, even better. Kenneth is the school's first blind student to be elected to the homecoming court. His title officially Duke, and while his cane highlights his disability, it certainly wasn't when his classmates chose him.
It didn't say on the ballot that he was blind, okay? It just said his name. The kids know him and they respect him, and I think kids recognize courage.
And so under the Friday night lights, Kenneth becomes a star.
He's shown us things that we never thought were possible. And he's always happy and always positive.
While it's easy for us to see the support, he can feel it.
I feel like this is awesome. I feel like it's like the best day ever.